Well, look who we have here, ladies and gentlemen. Ethan Reid, the Dream Visitor, the Guardian, Baldur's Gate 3. How are you, brother?
Hello, Dan. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm raring to have a chat about the game and all things gaming.
Hey, I know you grew up a game, a bit of Halo, bit of
Oh,
Xbox. What,
yeah,
Halo
man.
3?
So I got an Xbox as Halo 3 was kind of on its way out. And my mate who convinced me to get one, I was one of those kids that got like, I wouldn't say tricked, but I've got a Wii expecting like shooters, which is obviously number one. So, like Far Cry on the Wii, I think was one of my first games. And I was like, I was thoroughly disappointed. But you could actually throw the grenade with the nunchuck, so that kind of had me sold. But
Is that
then,
World at War, Call of Duty, or not?
so anything that came out on the Wii, I think the grenade was the
Oh,
nunchuck.
okay. It didn't matter what game it was.
No,
Yeah.
they all. But then my friend convinced me to get an Xbox 360 and Halo 3, and I played that campaign on co-op, and that was like my first experience of a kind of a big AAA game, and obviously the Halo 3 campaign is unbelievable.
Did you beat it on the hardest difficulty?
No, 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 no. No, I was like, I think I must have been like 13, 14. I bet, I could barely hold the controller right around. I since tried to go back and I think I completed Reach on the hardest difficulty because when
Oh,
Reach came out, that was it. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
When I was kind of school, I guess high school in Australia, but here we call it secondary school.
Yep.
Um, my best mate picked up guitar, and by the end of school was grade 8 at guitar, and I got really good at Halo.
Hey, but
Then,
you're a musician too. Don't get me wrong.
yeah, yeah, I've caught up since,
You've caught up since,
and
yeah.
he's still rubbish at Halo, so
So you
he's
got
the
him.
real winner. Yeah.
You're in a band, yeah?
Yes, yeah, I'm in one band in London, and I'm starting another one soon.
Oh, so you're a band whore. Sorry by my language.
Hey, look, if you want to make money from art, you have to diversify your portfolio. Okay? If the landlord wants is going to get his rent, I've got to get it from everywhere.
Yeah, yeah. So what do you do? What are you? You're guitar, bass?
So I play a bit of everything. I play
Okay.
everything with strings you hold sideways. So guitar, banjo, mandolin, ukulele, bass,
Oh,
all
wow.
that stuff. And a little bit of piano. I'm trying to learn the trumpet, but it's so hard. Um, but in the band I'm in, work do, I play bass and I sing. And in the band I'm starting, I am playing lead guitar and front manning it.
Oh, he's going out on his own. The front man.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
we
I was writing all these angry songs, all these big kind of punk tunes, and I was taking them to the band, and it just
Oh,
wasn't
wasn't
the same.
vibing.
Well, it was more like I realized that kind of that the project work do is the amalgamation of the four musicians in it. It's a kind of our common denominator, whereas it's no individual's piece in that band, which is a
Yeah.
beautiful thing, a true collaboration. And I love that band, and I'm going to see it all the way through. But I've also got my own little madness that I want to kind of put onto an audience.
What's the style of music again? Punk rock, did you say?
So what work do is kind of floating between Radiohead and Idols. So it's kind of going between this like psychedelic indie, um, all the way through to kind of like neo-punk. Whereas the other project that I'm starting is it's kind of like indie punk. I don't hear the indie in it, but everyone I show it, it's like it's very indie. But I'm too busy like screaming at the front to really hear what anyone else is playing.
That's amazing, man. You got to go after your passions, don't you, in this life?
Yeah, well, as all the money I make from acting, I try and save and reinvest into either trying to get a play I've written off the ground or try and getting into the studio with the bands. I try and make it that all the money I make kind of from my muggle job working at the pub, I try and make that money that pays the rent and pays the food, and all of the art money goes back into art. Um,
So are you
Yeah.
someone that at the start of this year you've written down goals, or you play it?
Oh yeah.
You are.
Yeah, big goals, big dreams. Um, I've got a to-do list which is intimidating.
What is it? Can you give us a sneak peek into it? What it looks
I
like?
can, I can. So a huge part of it is to learn how to use TikTok
Oh yeah,
and
nice.
try and market. Because I've joined Fraser on his stream where we're playing D&D, and there's all this amazing content coming out of it. And I can't, I just, the platform that Baldur's Gate has been unbelievable. Um, it was such a surprise, to be honest, because I had no idea, A, what the game was when I got the job. They didn't tell me until day one. And then I had no idea how big it was going to be because when I went home and looked it up, it was an early access game being made by some people that made Divinity, and Divinity was pretty popular, but it kind of wasn't a my
Wasn't
family didn't know.
mainstream. Wasn't phenomenon like this. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it wasn't like a cultural m moment in gaming. So I obviously did my best with Baldur's Gate, had loads of fun, kept bumping into this guy that looked really familiar on the stairs, and I was like, I recognize that guy. Turned out to be Neil. Because
Neil
I was
Newbon.
playing, yeah, because I was playing Detroit at the time
You're
with
kidding. You're
with
kidding.
my partner, and she was like, we got to this bit, and I was like, that guy looks really familiar. And my partner was like, "You've not met him. That's Neil Newborn." And I was like, "Hang on a minute." And I kind of went back to
Oh,
when I got to the studio, and I think on my first day, I bumped into him and said hello to him, and kind of didn't realize who he was. Lovely guy.
he's gone all right. The awards season, hasn't he?
Yeah, it's beautiful to see. It's beautiful to see. He's done a lot of work in the industry, and it's amazing to see someone get their flowers.
Do you see yourself doing more in the gaming world? Is that one of your passions?
Hugely, hugely. When I was growing up, a massive part of my experience of media and storytelling was through games.
Mm.
Like even because I'm quite a political person.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, yeah, very. I keep most of it to myself unless I'm actually kind of doing something of use, like if I'm going to a rally or a protest or something.
yeah.
But games were like a big part of my introduction to that conversation, like games like Fallout New Vegas, growing up playing that and
Oh,
having to
what a
make
game!
what a
Yeah.
game.
Ah,
Having to make those moral decisions and seeing, like the evil in Caesar's Legion, but then knowing that the NCR like wasn't much better. Like it was an amazing landscape to put like a young brain into and to grow up in. And then as I got older, getting games like Disco Elysium and
I haven't
my
played that. Is it good? I've heard great things.
man, it
I
is
know.
unreal.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so good. And don't get me wrong, like there are some elements of it, like some of it isn't like super smooth, but it
Yeah.
was like the first ever game. I think they were an art
We
collective
can give him
and they
some
were
slack.
one
Yeah.
make a game. Yeah, it was unreal. And
Yeah.
the world they've created and the characters they've made are some of the most compelling I've ever sat into.
So I'm guessing those two are your favorites of all time.
They're pretty up there. They're pretty
Yeah.
up there. You also love LA Noire,
Really?
but I
Yeah.
have some beef with the ending. I'll
Oh, really? Didn't like
love
it.
to the ending. No, it went from a 10 out of 10 to like a 7.5 and 8 because
Oh
of how it ended.
no.
Yeah, because mate, have you played it?
Yeah, I have. I have.
I thought the story was incredible. You go through the first half and every case is kind of separate, and then
Mm.
slowly the case is all you clock the conspiracy before Phelps does, and then it turns out it's relating to Phelps's past, and then it is all coming to a head in this really I'm getting goosebumps. It all comes to a head in a really organic way. Um, and then it just kind of just cuts off and just cuts off and leaves you. And I do appreciate kind of the ending kind of talking about how like the bad guy tends to win in a world run by money,
But it wasn't
but
satisfactory, was it, as a player? Yeah.
there's a way of doing that and
Mm.
giving you closure.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Aye.
It kind of reminds me of a movie I watched recently. I don't know if you've seen it. An amazing film. I think it was called Memories of a Murder by
Memories of-
Bong Joon Ho, who did Parasite.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, and then they never catch the killer.
Yes. The killer is you kind of thing, you know?
Yeah. But
Yeah.
hey, look, if that's a
Sorry
spoiler
for
for
the
someone,
spoilers, you guys.
yeah. It's your fault you haven't watched it already. Do you know what I mean? You can't spoil the Lord of the Rings. You can't spoil Memories of a Murder. Um,
Yeah.
or
So,
Lord of the Rings. You have to see it.
so you had correct me if I'm wrong, you had an addiction to painting models during COVID, Warhammer and that sort of stuff?
Oh yeah. When I was 10 or 11, my parents, I think like a family relative of mine was into it. And my parents knew I was creative. That's a light way of putting eccentric, I suppose. And so they were like, we need to channel some of this energy he's got. And so they took me to a Warhammer shop, bought a box of Space Marines because they looked the coolest. And also they looked by far the easiest to paint. Um, Took those home, made those, kind of got into it a little bit, but never was playing the game, which is what I wanted to do. But none of my mates were into it. And then in COVID, I suddenly realized I had all this unmade kit. And so I got it out and I had all
Mm.
this fantasy stuff. And I'll tell you, Dan, I might have made some money and it all went, it all went on Warhammer. It's just so fun. I would paint the models, and then so I used to run D&D games, and I would use them as my D&D characters.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and my whole world I'd built for the players was that the end result was going to be a big battle. So then the people they'd met would actually be on the table and fighting in a Warhammer battle.
Good idea. Yeah.
Grand strategy D&D.
Did they buy into it?
No, I think everyone died before we got there. I have a real problem as a DM of I kill my players very quickly.
Didn't you have a villain that you created that you built up and then all of a sudden he was a dud?
Yeah, I had this guy. I had this model. Like it was in this world where humanity had invented gunpowder and conquered the orcs, the trolls, the goblins, and you as the players were kind of leading a little revolution, and that was going to be the battle. And the antagonist throughout the whole thing was the leader of the human militia, who was the guy. He had like a pipe, and he would like enter the room ominously playing music, and you'd be all spooked out. Yeah, he came in and immediately rolled two ones. Um, and his pistol like exploded and blinded him. And,
What's your
after that,
reaction to that? You just laugh and just go, oh, fuck.
uh, if it wasn't for the fact that I'd given him like and in comes, the door creaks open, a gusted wind comes in and pricks up your ears, and everyone was like, ooh.
Yeah.
And then a guy comes in and blinds himself immediately. And then it's like on the floor screaming. And then they kind of spared him out of pity. And I was like, I can't have him come back and be the big bad.
So what's that like when you're a D&D aficionado and then you come into the world of Baldur's Gate 3? That must be a real treat.
That was nuts. Especially because my main pleasure I took from Baldur's Gate was it reconnected me with some of my friends I used to play D&D with, because all of my friends back home, so I left my hometown to come to central London. We're just on the suburb of London. I came into the city to go to drama school and
Yeah.
try and make a go of it. And I kind of lost contact because I just got so busy. And we used to play D&D. And so this game comes out and they're all playing it. And I get a text from a mate being like, hang on a minute, are you in this? I was like, yeah. And then he sends me a picture. Now you can't see on the screen. I'm 6'6". I'm quite a big guy. He made me a gnome or a little halfling. So he had my voice coming out of halfling. And and it kind of like brought me and my mates back into that same world of talking about it. And I feel, I'm so grateful for that because kind of reminded me of my appreciation of those friends.
So you haven't played it yet, but what are you going to create? You're obviously going to go male dream visitor, but then
Yeah, I want to see what I sound
what are
like.
you going to look like? What's the canon look for you that we
So
should all be
it's
creating?
yeah. Well, here's the thing, right? We could go really vain. Because I think the elephant in the room is that when someone makes their guardian, is everyone is making like the peak of their, let's say, tantalized desire.
Sexual fantasies,
There we
yeah.
go. Yeah. Well put, Dan. So,
Mine
um,
wasn't though. Mine was a freaking ugly orc, so I went down the wrong road. Yeah.
hey, and my voice probably fit it perfectly. But
Uh,
yeah, so I could go down that route, or I just think it would be hilarious. I want to make like the twin of my main character. So they're like
that's a good idea.
identical,
I like
and it's
that.
kind of like a reflection of that. Um, I don't know though. I might just make something hideous. You know what I mean? I think I'm kind of willing to go at it the same way I play D&D, which is just cause as much chaos as I can.
So, what direction did they give you? Because I know I spoke to Deanna, and she was talking about how she had to match your voice for half the time, and then you had to match her voice. So, what was that
Yeah,
like?
yeah. That was nuts because I think I got in the studio before her. So I did like a month or a month and a half of recording without doing that. And I thought I was gonna have a breeze. Because like they sent me all my material. I did the job. Sorry, I did the audition and I'd learnt my lines. And the guy running my audition went, "That's really impressive. You learnt your lines." And I was like, "What? What's my job if it's not to learn the lines?" So it turns out the way that they were doing Baldur's Gate was there's a monitor in front of you which has got your text on it, and it's got the image of your little mocap skeleton, which they turn into a Power Ranger. Um, and so I was in there just recording like that, reading off the monitor, having a blast. And then all of a sudden I come in one day and they go, right, we're flipping the script on you now. You've also got to follow the waveform of Diane's text and delivery. So you didn't have to match, I didn't have to match her choices and her like intention and the emotion and the volume, but I had to start and finish at the same time. And if there were any big beats, I had to match them. And so the way you did that, you had one eye on the text and one eye on the waveform. So you were kind of mirroring along with both whilst acting, whilst remembering to plant your feet in one place. And you could do anything. You had to end it where you started so that the character didn't like snap back
So,
into
it became
position.
very technical for you, or were you able to still? Because the performance was absolutely fantastic. I mean,
Oh, thank you.
no, seriously,
Uh,
it was incredible.
Yeah, no, it became very technical, but I can appreciate that kind of way of working. I enjoy kind of the parameters that a technical environment sets because it gives you a framework to play within. If a director says do whatever you want, it's kind of scary as an actor because you've got no idea what they're looking for.
Mm.
And they might be looking for you, which is then it would work. But unfortunately, that's quite rare that they're just looking for you because you're playing a role. So having the framework, I kind of rolled with it. So I was like, okay, I have to stay quite static. I'm playing someone probably slightly older than myself. So I kind of allowed this kind of like
Yeah.
tension to enter the physique and this rigidity to kind of carry through. And then I kind of used characters as points of reference um, that I'd seen in the world. So the limitation I found quite freeing because then instead of having an infinite amount of choices for a line, I could see four. So then I would do four takes and give them my four ideas.
It's a fascinating thing. What did you think of the reveal scene when there's that? We reveal the true identity
I thought it was mad. Yeah,
because you didn't know the plot. By the way, people don't know you didn't really know the plot. You were
I
kind of
knew.
discovering it as you went on,
Yeah,
or
so we had a talk well, all the scenes are filmed out of order, and some of the scenes were filmed across different days, um, which leads to a crazy thing in my brain when I've watched some clips of it to make sure that I was still in it and I wasn't on the cutting room floor. But I watched some and I heard a sentence where the first half of the sentence and the second half were recorded about 3 months apart. And
well, you could tell that you could remember.
I yeah, I could tell that because I had like this horrible double deja vu of knowing that I was myself in like two completely different places when recording those lines. But because they're words coming out of my mouth, I kind of shot back into that memory like it was a photo. It's very strange. But so yeah, I didn't know the nuance of the plot, but they they were merciful enough to tell me who I was, and they basically wanted to lead like a breadcrumb trail because obviously the dream visitor, the guardian is hiding something. And the best thing for an actor to do if they want to play a convincing liar is to not play a liar. It's to play someone that's telling the truth. And then it's
So
up
that's the number
to,
one thing in your mind. I'm playing this like
yeah,
everything. Yeah.
I'm the good guy. I definitely am. Just the script later says that I'm not.
So
Um,
you block it out in your mind, or you know
yeah,
what I mean?
well, you can, as an actor, if you're playing someone lying, you have to make the choice of how successful am I? And if you want to actually trick the person you're talking to, then you play the truth. If you then it then gets, well, you can either then play that they don't believe you and you're playing a liar. It only gets really complicated if you need to convince the character, but the audience knows you're lying. That gets a bit.
Oh, you've done that before?
I've done that in theatre, and that
Oh, yes.
it's a bit easier in theatre because you can just you can shoot a look, but not in like naturalism, which I've done quite a lot of in theatre. No, in Baldur's Gate, I knew that I had a secret. And so what I decided to do is on in my first session, I kind of had brought points of reference. And so I decided to use Aragorn. So Aragorn is, I was like, I need someone older than me, someone who carries a sense of like masculine wisdom, someone who would fight for you, but it's not about the flashy sword, it's about reaching back and uplifting you. Um, and it's Aragorn, he's a young king. That's like his whole thing in both senses. So I kind of lent on that and I was like, all right, I'm going to do in the broadest sense, my way in each morning of recording was it's my Aragorn. And that was my channel. And then the text helps you go the other half of the way.
So that was your inspiration. I was going to ask Viggo Mortensen. I mean, Viggo's a fucking. He's talk about an actor.
He's
Jeez.
proper. Yeah, no, he's proper. Really, really
What?
good. And he speaks very well about his craft.
Now, these comments are very interesting, but I just want your reaction to some of these comments about your work. His voice immediately made me fall in love with him. I cannot tell you how this man's voice made me feel. Such an elegant and handsome voice, it makes my knees weak.
Ooh.
One of the best voices I've ever heard. Is having a crush on a voice possible? Because I have one on this voice, no question.
That's beautiful.
What are your thoughts on that? Oh, I had to
Oh,
read some of those out here. They get progressively more, you know.
I have been sent some of the more extreme ones by my friends.
Oh,
Uh,
okay. So you've seen
a
some of
friend of
them.
mine found a certain Reddit page and sent it to me.
Oh no.
And yeah,
Were you
yeah.
aware of that sort of stuff before this project?
No,
No.
I was aware of I knew about Reddit. I knew I'd been on the big internet. Um, I just kind of wasn't myself on it and wasn't that's not where I kind of talked about games. I was lucky. My community of gamers was kind of my friendship group. Um, so I wasn't in the kind of online community. I had no idea that Baldur's Gate would garner this kind of chatter online, and I especially had no idea that any of it would be kind of laden at my feet. But the comments like that, I never thought in a million years I'd have such a positive feedback from people that have enjoyed the work. And I think it's so funny because it's so it's so not like the Guardian's voice is only like two steps removed from my voice, but I don't think you'd hear it in my voice
Hold on. If I
because
close
I'm,
my eyes, could you just bring him out for a second?
yeah. Dan, listen, if we can go on this journey together, I'm sure there's a way through.
Damn, man. I got
Something
shivers.
like that. I'm the
That's
good guy, Dan.
fantastic. Did
I
you workshop that at all, or was that from the start?
It was from the start, like
Wow.
when it mainly came from the posture and the audition I'd done. This is so funny. I say this to all my friends that are actors, and I don't think anyone believes me. But when you do an audition for something, don't do the audition they want, do the audition you want to do. So I got a tape through for a video game, and the text was blah blah blah. I need you to fight with me. Hang on a minute, they're on their way. Don't worry, I'll be back. There's a bit of, and it's from, I think it ends up in the game, but with a bunch of the names changed. So it's like three lines. And I was in a studio at the time rehearsing for something. And so I took a stick and I ran into frame, fought some invisible creatures, gave my first line, killed another one, gave my second line, executed the one that I'd just beaten, gave my final line and left.
Mate, I'm hiring you on the spot.
Yeah,
Honestly,
well,
that's a great idea.
because I was like, I don't know what kind of mocap this is going to be. If it's going to be like properly in the volume, I want them to know that I've done a bunch of stage combat and that I can fling a sword round and that I'm physical. And that really kind of doing all of that really helped with getting into the character. And if I'm thinking like, because I gave a really vague description of the character because didn't want you to figure out what it was. So there's like a picture of Geralt and a picture of some really witchery stuff.
Oh,
And it was
wow.
like,
Yeah.
you're you're a knight, you're the honorable, you're the kind of the wise teacher. And so this older voice, this chunkier voice kind of came out. And then in the first session, they played me back my audition tape and my recall tape, and they basically went, "That's what we want." And it was this like lower, huskier. It also helps that the microphone is there. The microphone's on your forehead, so you
Yeah.
only have to speak at this volume, and all of a sudden, there's the voice because it's only going to there.
Would it be a different, would it sound different if it was here versus
Yeah,
here?
yeah. Time. So because I've got quite a resonant tone, that all comes from my chest. So if the microphone was here, you'd get way more gravel and way more sounds like this. Whereas up here, that's your higher resonance. So when you hear someone singing in a really high register, that's a reverberation kind of behind their nose. That's where it comes out of up here. So you're actually hearing the higher end of my voice in the game, even though I sound like I'm a tractor engine.
Well, you've got the perfect performance or gravitas for a Warhammer game. I mean, you just get to give them a call. Half your
Mate,
co-stars are in Warhammer games.
mate, I know, right? I've emailed. I'm a big to-do list for me is to kind of get proactive with what I want to be casting.
Nice.
Um, I'm a big believer in anyone that works in casting, they really want to find the actor. And the audition process is a real pain in the ass. So if I can write my own tape, send it in, if I can preempt any of that, I'm sure that someone looking for the actor is going to go, "Oh, thank God, this bloke's found me. Thank goodness." So hopefully I can do that, and also showing you're keen, showing that's your work ethic. That's who I'd want to work
Yes.
with. I've
Yes.
put on productions and cast before, and it's the people that want to talk about it outside the room. It's the people that they just want to turn up and be there. That's the energy you want.
And you're a writer too, aren't you?
Yeah, yeah,
Have you
yeah.
written that short film?
The short film's on the way.
Yeah.
My main problem is sticking to one project. I always end up writing about five, but I'm currently adapting. I've entered a play of mine into a script competition, and hopefully it's going to get chosen for a festival.
Nice.
Um, that's a play I put on at drama school. I'm writing another play and writing this film, and I'm hoping the film happens first because that will help my career because I that footage is going to be so useful to show to casting directors that work in screen. But
Are you casting yourself in it? I'm guessing.
oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm producing the film. I've got to be in it,
Yeah. Of
otherwise, you know.
course. Oh
But
no. Don't
but
blame you.
yeah, it's about a young lad going on. It's a road trip film between a
Love road
young
trip films.
lad and his best mate. But his best mate passed away, and he's in an urn. So it's him and an urn on a road trip film.
That's a great idea.
And it's the urn, it's his best mate's bucket list, and he's taking him to do it.
That's sick. How did you come up with that?
I was thinking about I was thinking about really cheap films that I could make, and I thought, well, what if there's one actor?
Are you serious? That's how. Okay.
Well, okay.
That
Well,
is hilarious,
I have like dozens and dozens of
man.
ideas. I could
But they're
just
just the
put,
budget. Yeah, I know.
but then you kind of go like, well, what can I actually make?
Mm.
You know, even even films you'd think would be low budget, the second there's a location that isn't public access, the second there's more than three actors, the second there's anything choreographed or any like live music, it gets really expensive. So I thought this. I also wanted to explore something on the spectrum of like platonic relationships, kind of like platonic love, especially for young men. Um, I think it's so powerful when a young man says to another young man, "I love you," and that's all it is. There is, I think there's something so powerful in that. And I haven't always been an optimist. I am
By
an
the way, I
optimist
love
now.
you, man.
Uh, but I've not always been an optimist, and I definitely elect to be one now.
Yeah.
And so I want in a film show someone discovering the choice of optimism. I don't think
Mm.
it, I think often people talk about it as if you have to be duped into it. You have to trick yourself, and I disagree. I think it's a philosophy that you can choose to empower you to like laugh at the devil as he follows you where you go. Do you know what I mean? You get to give him a cheeky wink and say, "Not this time, mate," or whatever. So th this film is about the young guy who goes on the trip is miserable, and then this quest to take the urn with him drags him out of that, and he realizes that you can make your own adventure of life.
It's amazing, man. I
That's what I'm
look
looking
forward to
for.
watching it.
So do I.
Are you editing too?
Hopefully not. My plan is I've got loads of friends in film, and all of us are kind of at the beginning of our career. So I've been saving up money because I want to pay them. I want to pay my friends to do it because I want it to be a professional credit. And I'm a big believer in if you ask someone to do something for free, you shouldn't expect more effort than what you're offering them because we've all graduated school, we're all trying to make a living. And I don't know, during COVID, our government told us to retrain and get different jobs to leave the arts. That was a government policy. And it's
That's
a
shit.
little way, yeah, oh, mate. Yeah. I mean, there's not much good that comes out of the voices from that neck of the woods. But I just think that being able to pay my friends and tell them you are now my colleague, that's like their kindness to me is the amazing skills and craft they're going to bring. My kindness to them will be that I will show due appreciation.
How did you go in school? I'm curious.
Um, I hated school. I absolutely hated it.
So did I. So did I.
Yeah, I really struggled because everyone else was playing this like social game of kind of you had to be really careful not to piss off the wrong people and please this, and you couldn't wear those shoes and you couldn't do this, and I was just completely oblivious to this game being played. I just wanted to have mates and muck around and do the things I wanted to do. And so I used to get in trouble with the teachers for talking a lot. I never like stole anything or broke anything or was rude. I would just
Just
get so
talking.
excited.
Yeah, it's me.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
so excited about like what I was talking about. I'd get in trouble. Um, and obviously then like there's certain I mean, looking back, there were some people at my school that needed help that didn't know how to ask for it, and because of the way institutions in Britain are run, there probably wasn't the resources to help them,
And so
and
you
they're
were
only
bullied, or
yeah, quite badly, but
did you let it affect you?
it definitely affected me. It made me yeah, it was definitely very hard, and it definitely changed the way I socialized, and it affected me a lot growing up. But looking back, I think even then I was aware in some way that the person being ugly to me, someone had put that ugliness in them, that no one was born with that to give. And so even through all the harshness that I was being dealt, at worst I felt pity,
Yeah.
and at best I felt empathy. Um, and my parents were great. They were always there for me, and albeit we didn't always know what to do about it. They were a great support structure. Um, Funnily enough, the day it all stopped was because they found out who my brother was, and my brother is an ex-Royal Marine cage fighter.
My
Um,
goodness. Older brother?
yeah. He's
I'm
a half
guessing,
brother,
yeah.
twice my age. He's 50 something, 53.
Wow.
And so one day at school, someone nicked my mate's football, and I went to get it back because that was the right thing to do. I was a big believer in justice, still am. So I was like, "That's not your football. Give it back." Not realizing that they were going to go, "What are you going to do about it?" And then I was going to go, nothing. I've asked. That is the limit of my diplomacy." Um, so then they try and get a bit physical, and then someone runs over with a phone, and they go, wait," and like the whole school's come around the playground, and the guy's like 2 years older than me, way bigger than me, and he's been shown a phone, and he goes white, and then he goes, "Yeah, give him his ball back. We don't even want the ball. We don't even want the ball," and it all splits off, and I grabbed the guy with the phone who had never done me a solid before. He did, and I said, "What did you show him?" And he showed me a picture, and it was my brother in the cage with all his tattoos, blood running down his face. And I was like, yeah, that would scare the crap out of me too. Um, and
Oh,
it all kind of, and then he got me into martial arts, which is the moment I became confident. It really changed my life. Um, I got into jujitsu and changed everything for
I've
me.
always wanted to do jujitsu. I really
Dan,
have.
it is the best. Brazilian
Yeah.
Jiu-Jitsu is the best thing ever. Like, find a gym that's welcoming and then just get stuck in because it's incredible, really incredible. And you don't get punched in the face, which is great.
It's a lot of grappling on the floor work. Yeah.
Yeah, grappling, and it's such a relationship with yourself because the adversity in jiu-jitsu is, how do I deal with discomfort? How do I deal with struggle? Because you can be very successful. Like I would spar with people much better than me, but because I had the willpower I would go like, I know I'm going to lose, but I'm going to make it as hard for them as possible. And these people would like hate rolling with this 15-year-old kid that they were twice as big as, twice as strong as, because I just wouldn't stop. And that was really empowering for me that I found my strength and my willpower and forged it in that. And then that has been so well applied to the rest of my life. And it gives me the courage it was the foundation of my confidence, which allowed me to act and to perform.
So I've got 13 questions here. The Dan's Baker's dozen, they call it. Some silly, some fun, some more serious. First question. You're
Hmm.
getting an ice cream, 2 scoops. What are the flavors?
Easy, easy. I am getting Nutella for the base, and then I'm
Yeah.
getting like a raspberry sorbet for the top.
Wow. So you like the
Yeah.
rich flavors.
Oh, all about the rich flavors. What else am
Yeah.
I? You know what I mean?
So never vanilla, just like your
No,
life.
the thing is, right, just like my life indeed. The thing is with vanilla, it's so rarely a really good
I
vanilla.
know, I know,
When they get vanilla right, it's unreal. And
I
I
know.
don't mix it, just have the anyway. Yeah.
Night or morning person?
I I have always been a night person, and I really wish I was a morning person. Really
Sounds like
wish.
me. Sounds like
Yeah.
me. What time of night are we talking?
If I we're talking the next day. Do you know what I mean?
We're talking late. Yeah.
Yeah, if I get into the flow of writing
The
or
sun's
working,
coming up, sort of thing. Yeah.
yeah, the birds are my like they send me they're like, you really need to go to bed. I'm like, okay. It's not so bad anymore, but like for a long time I was writing into the night like I guess it's you feel like an artist if you're working till 3 a.m., don't you?
You do, you do. If you were to create a fragrance, what smell would it be?
It would be like motor oil. It would be like a Mad Max themed
Oh,
kind of
nice.
thing. The
Sick.
smell of like industrial war. I don't know why. I think like a husky musk, something along those lines, you know.
That's fantastic. Have you ever got someone's autograph?
Um, Someone's autograph. I had one bought for me. I had a Bill Murray autograph bought for me because I was obsessed with his films when I was younger. So I got a Bill Murray autograph.
And this isn't part of it, but what's your favorite Bill film?
The Aquatic Life of Steve
Oh,
Zissou.
I knew you were going to say that. As
Yeah,
soon as
yeah.
I knew it. Oh, it's an underappreciated film.
Massively,
Yeah,
massively, and for everyone in it, for Owen Wilson as well. I think he's great in it.
more people need to see it for sure. What's a skill you'd like to learn but haven't?
Oh my goodness. I'm gonna try and pick something that isn't music because I'll just list you an instrument.
Trumpet.
Uh, I would really like to learn. I'd really like to learn to horse ride. I have always been scared of it because horses are massive, and I'm quite big, and I think they like square up to me. But I'd love to learn to ride a horse because I think it's so beautiful, and I think it's such a connection with our past, and humanity kind of it's like humanity's first true liberation to being more than like irrigation and horse riding were the two big things that the planet was put on watch, like humanity's, which I don't think was necessarily a good thing, but I think it'd be a beautiful thing. I think it'd be something that would help me kind of like nomadically connect with that ancestral root.
This is one of my favorites of the 13. If aliens visited Earth and you were selected from the world to greet them, what would you say to them, Ethan? Ethan,
I would
please.
say I would say to them, if you're on the run, it's just as bad here. But if you're, but if, but if you've got something good to give, we've got open arms.
You're going to say it like that, are you? In
Yeah, and
that tone?
if you're off, take me with you. Let me grab my trumpet and we'll go.
um,
No.
if you had to replace yourself with another actor in as the Guardian, what actor are you choosing? So you were never in Baldur's Gate 3. Who is the
Wow.
best replacement for you?
Wow. I would want it to be
Don't say Bill Murray.
very different kind of guardian.
Yeah, yeah.
Like with pipe weed, like Gandalf. Just you can come with me, or you don't have to.
Yeah. Yeah.
With a golf set, just playing around a golf everywhere he goes. Um, I'd want to pick someone young and up and coming because it's been an amazing opportunity for me, and I'd want to give that gift to someone else.
You're too
Um,
kind.
well, I sometimes just think the way the industry is at the moment, it's very paranoid of casting new talent because it's so worried that it'll just tank the show. But it's kind of this like trap because it means, well, everyone's just going to get old. There'll be no new talent, and I find it really sad that they're no longer willing to take risks on casting.
I think it'll go away, man. And
It
it's
will once. I will once. There is kind of like an economic gloom at the moment,
yeah.
and hopefully we can lift out of it. That will be when people can start taking risks again. Who would I cast?
This
I
one
can't.
stumped you, hasn't it?
It has stumped me because every time I think of someone, it's someone that's already got their flowers.
It can
Um,
be a friend. I don't mind.
I was going to say I've got
Yeah.
two answers.
Yeah.
I would, if it had to be someone in the public spotlight, I'd cast George McKay from 1917, from the Ned Kelly gang, from Captain Fantastic. He's an amazing actor. He's got an incredible voice, and I think he would sit into the role very well. But I would want to offer it to a friend of mine. Um, I've got two friends that'd be very good for it. My friend Caleb O'Brien,
Caleb,
who
shout
has
out.
an unreal voice and would do very well in Baldur's Gate and in any of this world. So if anyone hates me but wants someone like me, then call on Caleb. But if you like me, then please hire me.
Your most embarrassing moment of your life.
Oh my goodness, how long do you have?
Take
Um,
it, whatever you want to reveal, please.
there's been some there's been some highlights. I've done a lot of stage, so there's a lot of material.
Oh, really? Give us one of those,
Yeah.
please. I love
Oh
those
God.
stories. They're
Yeah.
fantastic.
I've had like I've had scenes where I've forgotten a line and I've turned it into a rambling monologue as I try and find the line. And I just kind of talk around the play because I forget why I'm even in the scene. So I'm like, well, I'm here because I need to be. And I need to be here because. And I just kind of
Oh
work.
no!
The actors just
Oh
staring at me like they
no!
want to kill me. I'm like, why aren't any of you saying anything? The
They should
first one that
save
comes
you
to
there, don't
mind,
you think?
they should. They should. Like,
You're here
where's their
because
sense of
of.
camaraderie?
Are you here because of this? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I I think the worst one, the one that genuinely pained me, was I was in a production of Spring Awakening when I was younger, which is this amazing rock musical, and it's
Oh,
about
nice.
these young kids in turn of the 20th century Prussia, Germany, and one of them finds a book. They're like just kind of they've just gone into puberty, these characters, and one of them finds a book which is kind of like sex education, and he writes an essay, and they all have like an awakening because of this essay, and it's about how the town deals with it. It's a mental show, and the music's unreal. Now, when I was younger, I was not a singer, and I had a teacher who was particularly quite cruel about singing and had told me, "You'll never be a singer." That teacher then cast me as the lead in Spring Awakening. So I don't know what they thought they were doing, whether it was like some sort of psychological curse they were laying on me. So I'm in this role and singing this show, and we had 2 weeks to learn it, which is really short turnaround for
Jesus.
theatre.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the half the time you'd want.
Oh my god.
Get to the show, and I swear, Dan, I promise you, I was nailing it. I was nailing it. And every time I opened my mouth and a note came out, I was going, I don't know what's happening, but it's working. Now, the last note in the show, the very last note is the highest. And I was really nervous for it, but I'd done the rest of the show. And my character, he's in a graveyard because the ghost of his friend has just sung to him and told him it's okay. And it's the emotional climax. And he goes to sing this note, and I missed the note. Now in my head, I'm like, the note's
Oh.
high. So I slid up through all the notes until I found it. Now this gets
Oh
worse. It's worse.
god.
Because I left stage and was then informed that the first note I sung was the right note. I had sung the right note and then slid a whole octave to a full echo, which I don't even I can't
That's
even
mortifying, isn't it? I don't know.
yeah, it
Yeah, yeah.
because for a whole octave that took like 3 seconds. That's a long time for a note to be moving just through all of them. I must have sounded like someone had taken the pitch shift and just gone like that. It was horrible. Oh, and then of
I kind of
course,
wish I was there, actually.
oh well, don't worry, it's been videoed
Oh, has it?
because that performance was recorded
Oh,
because at the end of every year we did like an awards night for kind of the best up and coming student, the best newcomer that just joined the school, blah 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 blah. And the teacher got on stage and went, "We've got a new category this year." And it was the most embarrassing moment, or like well, he said the biggest fuck up. And then there were kind of all these clips played of other people like falling over on stage. We did Titus Andronicus, which leaves the stage covered in blood, and everyone fell over during the bows. And in first place was, and then roll the clip,
oh
and
no.
yeah, it was me.
Can
I
you send
won.
that to me, please? I'm begging you. I won't put it
Absolutely.
out. I just want to see it
I,
myself.
I don't have it,
Oh no.
but it's out there. I'm sure that
Far
bloke
out.
still has it.
That's so
But
funny.
I remember going up to get the award and just kind of like the glazed over look of horror of because I
Oh,
didn't know it had been recorded, and then there it was, immortalized forever.
You got to laugh, don't you? If you don't laugh, you'll
Yeah,
cry.
or you'll cry. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Favorite comedy film?
Oh, favorite comedy film. It's got to be. I do like. I do really like kind of the offbeat weird stuff. I'm not a big fan of like the American improv comedy films where the humor is just in the dialogue. I kind of enjoy when the film is funny. You know, like
Yes,
have you
yes.
ever seen Dawn of the Dead and Hot Fuzz, where the actual filmmaking has the humor? You know what? My favorite comedy film is probably, and off the top of my head, it's probably The Death of Stalin.
I don't think I've seen that.
Oh, mate, it's a political farce set in Stalin's
Oh,
cabinet,
wow.
and it's unreal. It's unreal. It's just all these people that are like, what do we do? I don't know. Should we kill them?
Oh, that sounds fantastic.
We should probably kill them. Put them on the list. Why am I on the list? You're not on the list. And it's just all of this political farce.
I'm
It's
curious,
so
do you like Faulty Towers? Do you find that funny?
yeah.
Yeah.
My agent, whenever he puts me up for anything, puts think young John Cleese. Um,
Because that's got to be one of my favorites.
yeah,
Has
John
to be.
Cleese. If we're talking TV shows, then it's
Well, yeah,
Black.
I've gone TV now, yeah, but
Well, then definitely it's either Blackadder or Faulty Towers.
Blackadder.
Oh, have you not seen Blackadder? Oh, Dan, if you like Faulty Towers, Blackadder is Rowan Atkinson and Hugh Laurie and Stephen Fry. You only
Oh,
want
what?
season two, three, and four. Season one, they went for it with Rowan Atkinson playing the fool, like Mr. Bean. But then two, three, and four, he's the straight man, and everyone else is the fool, and it is
I
gold.
love. Oh, yeah, I've got to watch that.
It's
That's fantastic.
seriously good.
Yeah.
Season two, three, and four are gold, and season four is especially poignant.
Well,
It's
holds
really
up.
good.
Yeah.
They all hold up, but in season four is set in the trenches. They're all set in a different time period, and season four is in the trenches in World War One. Um, and it's like a mix of it kind of takes on a new level of humor because it becomes fast because one of them plays the general whose solution to everything is just to go over the top. It's great. It is really good. So yeah, definitely those two. Fawlty
Thank you,
Towers. I
man.
also love
Yeah.
that one. Anything with Rick Mail in it.
Oh, yeah. Number 10, a thing you do every day that makes you happy.
I think I do it every day that makes me happy. Music. I I love music. I only really release kind of like more band rock stuff, but I try and play piano every day. And piano really feels like the instrument that I connect with on more than a sonic level. When I play the piano, it really kind of speaks to the part of me that I can't always talk to. And I find it a really beautiful experience. So I sit at the piano every day.
What's the worst tasting food you've ever eaten, Ethan?
Okay. I have a bone to pick. Mint. It's mint.
You
What's
knew
up with it?
instantly.
Why is it everywhere? As a child never liked mint. It kind of was more than just the taste. It kind of makes me feel a bit ill. So they put it in toothpaste, right? And then they put it in gum, which at school everyone is chewing. So I was just haunted and still am by mint. I brush my teeth with my nose pinched. It's horrific.
I don't agree with it. I don't mind it in gum. I don't agree with it on chocolate in chocolate. That's where I draw the
Yeah,
line, you know.
you're ruining something great. Come on now.
Yeah. Come on.
And I don't begrudge anyone else for liking mint because it is everywhere. So
Oh
I
no, I
reckon,
do.
I reckon most people have just been like, what do you call it? I reckon it's Stockholm syndrome. I reckon
Yeah,
people
yeah.
like have to because you have been sold the idea that mint is fresh, and so if you want good breath, you need mint breath.
That is
That's a
so
no.
true. That is so
Yeah,
true,
it's
man.
a false association.
God,
It
that is
is.
so true. Yeah.
It's like any marketing company. They go, how do we sell something that preys on insecurity? Okay, my insecurity is bad breath. I need gum that needs to be mint. That's all it is.
God. Two
It's
more.
capital.
I'll give you a
Okay.
bonus one. Who's your favorite Australian YouTuber that interviews actors in the best games in the world?
Dan Allen, easy.
12. Cats or dogs?
Dogs. I love dogs. And I've got to say, I do respect cats. I respect cats because you have to treat them on their terms. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah.
You have to learn to negotiate someone else's boundaries. I think that's a very healthy thing for someone to have to negotiate. But if I'm spending like 8 grand on this thing, I do need unadulterated love. And I've been told I have the same energy as a dog because when I used to come home, I had a dog for about 2 years. We had a rescue dog and she was very poorly. So we kind of took her in for the last years of her life. And when I came home, I was as excited to see her as she was me. We were obsessed with each other. And it was the best thing that ever happened to me was getting that dog. So yeah,
Don't make me cry, man.
it was a border collie. She had
Oh,
two different
smart.
eyes.
Very
Yeah,
smart. Yeah.
wicked smart, wicked smart. She was
I
so,
think they're the
so
smartest dogs in the world. Yeah.
yeah. She would if you sat down, she would lay on your feet and fall asleep because then she knew you were there while she was asleep. She was
I
beautiful.
got a golden retriever. She
Oh, dogs.
yeah, she's the best. Last one. Best life advice you've ever been given that stuck with you.
I want to offer um a quote from a philosopher and a lecturer called Alan Watts. It's quite a famous quote. Someone asked Alan Watts, or lots of people have asked him, what should I do with my life? I don't know what to do. And he said, what would you do if money was no object? And people would say, like, oh, I'll be a painter, or I'd work with horses. And Alan said, well, then do that because the money won't give you back the time. So do that. So I want to live my life. I'm not living it in denial of financial pressure, but I want to live my life pursuing things that I would pursue if money was no object.
Well put, man. Well put. Beautiful. Thanks for a great interview, man. I really appreciate your time.
Oh, mate, it has been a pleasure. Thank you so much for inviting me on and curating such a wonderful experience.
Can you tell me, before I let you go, can you tell me what your time on Baldur's Gate means to you?
Oh, mate, any actor that goes to drama school, your greatest fear is leaving drama school and your life returning to as if you'd never been. And I was terrified, especially being my height, because unfortunately, so many jobs that I would be right for due to other qualities I have, I get ruled out for because of my height. And so I had this, and as much as I tried to sit with that discomfort and negotiate it and confront it, I couldn't escape the paranoia that I wasn't going to work because of my height. And I came out of drama school and that was my experience. I got turned down from so much or out I was out of the room for so much because of that. And then lo and behold, this audition came through and it was for an unmarked game through a voice agent, which I had gotten because I thought, well, you can't tell me I'm too tall to be the voice in something. Come on now. So I was already kind of like thinking like that. This audition came through. I went to the recall, and only in hindsight do I know what I was up against. They must have auditioned so many people. And there was a Larian party that a few of us went to. And I was told to paraphrase, well done, because you were up against people that would have been a much easier choice to go with someone we knew they'd already been in games, had already done work, blah, blah, blah. It meant it's meant the absolute world, and it is the bedrock of my belief that I belong in this industry and I can do it because I auditioned and with the slim odds, I got the role. I did the role. I chose to not listen to the voice of you've never done this before. I chose to listen to this is who I am or what I want to do. If they never release this game, it's still been a pleasure to work with all these people and play this role. They then released it and it went on to do so well. I mean, like I grew up watching the Angry Joe show and it was Angry Joe's game of the year. And that's unreal to me. I was in that game. Um, and to hear, and then Elijah Wood and plays the
Sean,
game.
yeah.
Sean Astin.
Crazy.
This game has gone on to be so big, and it's put me in contact with old friends. I had messages from people I was at primary school with when I was 9
Wow.
that I used to play Orcs and Goblins on the climbing frame with. And they messaged me being like, "Is this you?" It has it's changed my life, and not in the way that I thought it might. It's not led to 1,000 open doors, but it has introduced me to so many wonderful people and opened so many opportunities that are kind of more enriching to my soul and my character. And that is something forever more valuable than you know, royalties that will
Yeah.
forever pay for. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sack that. I'd rather have met the people I've met and become the more enriched person I've been. It's been incredible. And to see what it's meant to some people as well. The game has meant so much to some of the fans playing it, and it has made so many people feel seen, which is so tremendously important.
Mm.
Even the way Larian negotiated the character customization and the way the characters kind of make people feel represented. Such an important game. So it has meant the world. Really, really has.
Yeah, I think it might be the game of the generation. It's that good. It's
I
in 10 years we'll be looking back going, God, that was a that was a fantastic game.
If I
Uh,
am ever lucky enough to have children, I can't wait to put them onto it.
yeah. Is there anything you quickly want to say to the fans that have tuned in today?
Thank you so much. If you're one of the people that has left one of the wholesome to thirsty comments, thank you. I see you. I see you.
Give us some
Um,
more thirsty in the comments on this one, please. I
yeah,
love them.
yeah. Maybe
We
just
encourage it.
email casting directors, you know? No, but for real, the it has felt so surreal, and the thing that grounds me is the amazing messages I've had of people reaching out. Some of the people that have met me off the back of it, my goodness, it's just been incredible. It's beyond my dreams to have been in something that has brought this much joy to people. So,
Beautiful.
thank you. Keep enjoying the game, and trust the Guardian. Like, come on now. I'm hearing all this stuff online that he's not a great guy. I think he's a great guy. Just use those tadpoles, give in to the illithid powers, and we can rule the world together. So, come on now.
And to round this one off, mate, can we get the dream visitor, the Guardian, to say something to Dan to finish this one off?
Yes, I can. Dan, it occurs to me that you haven't been using your platform to spread news of the illithid uprising. This alarms me, Dan. I wonder if perhaps this cause is too much for you. Perhaps the tadpole in your brain isn't strong enough. I'm sure we can change that, Dan. Or perhaps you should have been left at Moonrise Towers. Now, Dan, I don't want to make this a threat, but an invitation. Come with me, Dan. We can watch this world crumble together and rebuild it in our image.
That's fantastic, man. My goodness me. Oh,
He's not a good guy. He's misunderstood.
Thank you very much, Ethan. We really appreciate it.
Oh, mate, I'd love to come back anytime.
You will be back. Don't you worry.